Hello, welcome to Poppa's Pastimes. It's been a while since I've done a video, and I thought I'd go through my range bag. The range bag that I currently have is, well, it's getting on now. I've had it quite a while, but it's pretty much my go-to bag. Everything I take to the range is usually carried in this, aside from my trauma bag, which we have as range first aiders. But pretty much everything I need is either in this or it's in the toolbox, which is in the Deer Taxi. But I'll go through this and just explain what it is I've got, and hopefully why I've got it. Some of the stuff I might not have any idea why I've got it. So it's a fairly run-of-the-mill bag. The first thing you can see on the top is a glasses case. Now in my glasses case I keep what is probably quite unusual to most people, but I have my standard prescription glasses, but I have the right lens taken out. So basically what I do is I set my optics on my rifles so that they're in, I suppose, tuned into my right eye. I'm a glasses wearer anyway, but I have difficulties if I'm not wearing glasses to see what's on my turrets. So my compromise around this was basically to have one lens in and one lens out, and you can see that if I just move that into the light a little bit. So what I do when I'm shooting, if I'm away in Scotland or down in Cornwall or wherever, if I'm on the mat and I'm shooting, typically I'll be wearing these, and it saves me having to keep messing around taking my glasses and putting them on and putting them off if I'm shooting variable distance. So an example of that would be when we're at Estelmuir, we'll probably work our way out. So we'll go from 300 to 400, 5, 6, 7, work our way all the way out to the 1500 marker and perhaps a bit further. And in order to make sure that I've got my ballistics correct, I need to keep popping my glasses on to look at Strelic and then make the adjustments on my turrets. Don't need to do that so much with these. It just makes that a little bit less of a, I suppose, embuggerance really. So that's what that is. And on the side here, I've got a water bottle carrier. Typically always keep water in there, and that's refreshed pretty much after I use it. So I don't normally always use it, but it is what it is with that. And then the other thing that you can probably see on the side here is it's a mole radio holster, if you like. I do quite often take radios, and I will have a radio which fits in there, but at the moment I just use it for keeping my staples in. Doesn't necessarily stop them from falling out, but you can put them through there and it'll stop them from falling out. So it's quite a useful thing to have on the side of the bag. Like I say, I don't always have a radio on me, but there are occasions where I will take radios. So onto the front, the first pouch at the bottom has a standard first aid kit. It's just been pimped. I've put some extra bits and pieces in there, but I just keep that purely as a backup. Normally if I'm within sight of my trauma bag, I would probably take stuff from my trauma bag or my IFAK, and you've probably seen videos on the IFAK. So that's just a standard first aid kit with some extra bits and pieces in there. A couple of first field dressings in there. To be honest, the majority of time I've used the first field dressing has usually been as a bit of support for the book bag, but you can never have too many bits of first aid kit, I don't believe, and the fact that it's full is always a good sign, because it means that it's not getting broken out and used. So that's pretty much it's just a first aid kit that I keep in there. If anybody knows me, you'll know all my vehicles got first aid kits in. I have the IFAK, which Forestry Scotland require us to carry when we're out stalking. I've got a trauma bag which I put together as a result of doing the ballistics first aid course, and then I just I've got grandkids, so ultimately having a first aid kit wherever you are is always useful. So the next pouch is basically just bits and pieces. So I've got some gloves, have some antibacterial hand cleansing gel, I've got some hand warmers, always handy to keep a couple of those, KFS set, this is the most important bag that I tend to keep with me, and this is just spare batteries. So I've got spare battery for my binos, spare batteries for lots of other different things like head torches. I've got a CR032, or is it 25, scope battery for the illuminated reticles, and I've also got a spare Energizer lithium battery, which is what I use in the Kestrel. So handy having that, and there's also a spork there, which is again handy having stuff for eating with. Quite often we'll be having pot noodles, or pots of porridge or whatever, just the quick stuff that you just need water for really on the range. I do usually have patches on there, but I'll take them off just for the purpose of the video. And then if we could just go around the side, I've got a medication pouch. So in here I've got paracetamol, ibuprofen. I've not got any antihistamines, but I usually keep some antihistamines local. In the back I've got some energy gels, and I think that's all there is in there really. It was just a book sheet pouch, so I filled it with stuff. And then I've also got down here, as part of the first aid kit, a tourniquet, and that's got a specific little tourniquet mole add-on. So moving into the main part of the bag, so the front pouch I don't really use much in there. I've got a stapler. Most people use these for pinning the targets to the range boards. Some spare warm clothing, so there's a set of warm gloves there. These are thin silk. A spare pair of socks, because you can almost guarantee you're going to get soaked when you're on the range. And I've got a hat, some emergency blankets, and also I always keep some Ziplocs. This is mainly just to keep stuff that I've got. If I'm putting muddy stuff back in here, I'm going to put Ziploc bags over them just to keep the bag as clean as I can. And then if just go into the back part, what we have in here is so I bought this a while ago. I do tend to use it. It's quite handy. It's the Sniper Wind Finder. I bought it online. You basically just click that in there, plonk that into the ground, and then what happens is as the wind changes, the little bit of string will blow at an angle, and if you can, I don't know if you can see that, but the wind will blow at an angle, and it will give you an indication of roughly how strong the wind is. It's quite useful. I tend to stick it just a little bit forward of the firing point really, but that's what that is. Keep that in there. I do use a Kestrel as well, so bit of old tech, seems to be fairly reliable. I bought it from a guy on eBay, and he was doing some YouTube videos, but it's quite useful. Here I have a book bag or a bean bag. So this is just something I've got for levelling up the rear of my rifle. It's basically a sock which has been filled with poly beads inside a pair of ladies' tights, and it's just doubled over on itself. Dead handy, because you can squeeze it, and it just gives you those incremental risers that you need when you're just getting your position, popping your reticle over your target. So, and again, it's kept in a bag. The reason I keep it in a bag, just keep it nice and dry. I have another book bag. This is not quite as effective as that one, but it seems to work. It's a GRS bag. Got it from one of the shooting shows a couple of years ago. As you can see, it's a bit mucky and it's been used quite a bit on the ground. They do tend to absorb water, so if you're shooting and it's raining, these do tend to get a little bit wet. I just chuck them on the radiator when I get back. But again, kept in a bag. And then what else have we got in here? Spare targets. Always handy to have some targets in there. The amount of times I actually forget to take targets and end up using what's in my range bag. What I've got, ground sheet. Ground sheets are dead handy. I use them because I've got a fairly small, if you like, mat, and so my shooting mat is winged. I'll pop a picture of it on so you can see what it is. But I like to have underneath it just a little bit of waterproof, I suppose, ground sheet, because almost all range mats, unless they're waterproof underneath, will absorb water. And mine tends to absorb more water from the ground than it actually does from the atmosphere or from a little bit of rain. So this is dead useful. And again, you know, more often than not, especially some of the ranges where we shoot, I can think of Eppiston, for example, where the firing points are just absolutely dire. And the reason that you have one of these is just to help keep you and your mats clean. Goes in a bag, chuck it back inside once I'm done. What else do I have? Yeah, just a spare floor mat, works quite well. That's not in a bag because last time I was on the range, I took it out and the wind had got up and it just blew my bag off, so there was no way of retrieving it. I do keep a couple of little toolkits in. So I have this little DeWalt socket set, and what that does is that just gives me options if I need any of the Torx or Phillips or even flat bays, and I've also got some sockets there. So these will do all of the scopes that I've got. It's not great, it's not a perfect fix because it's not a Torx setting, but I do have I'm trying to think, I think it's a Vortex Torx setting. So I do have a Vortex Torx setting in, or torque driver in my AI case. This is another one. It's just got a few bits and pieces to it. Yeah, that pretty much covers it. So I'm not really going to go too much into much more. It is what it is, and there's probably more stuff that I can keep in there, and there's probably stuff that I could keep out, but it works for me and there's no point changing it. So if you've got any ideas, if you think I should keep anything else in there, or you know, if you've got any suggestions, let me know. Put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.